Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. First of all, I would like to give you a warm welcome and thank you all for joining us on this webinar on the digital future for field radiography. My name is Steven Wissels and I will be one of the presenters today to guide you through this webinar. But before we begin, we wanted to cover a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of your screen, multiple application engagement tools are available that you can use. All these engagement tools are resizable and movable, so please feel free to move them around to get the most out of your desktop space. You can expand your slides area or maximize it to full screen by clicking on the arrows on the top of your right corner. If you have any questions during the web chat, you can submit them through the questions and answers engagement tool. We will try to answer these during the webcast, but if a fuller answer is needed or we run out of time, it will be answered later via email. Please know that we do capture all of your questions. A copy of today's slide deck and additional help materials are available in the resource list. We encourage you to download any resources or links that you might find useful. The speakers of today are Daniel Emmons. Daniel Emmons is a senior product manager responsible for managing software products associated with field radiography. Tasks include managing the software, cloud product lifecycles, working with suppliers and partners, engaging in DICONDI standards. In his prior role, Daniel led product management and marketing initiatives for multi-vendor subscriptions and license-based analytical and orchestration software and services at Nokia, covering 5G, SDN, and cloud with ML and automation capabilities. He has many years of agile software development and management experience in a variety of domains. Daniel holds an MBA from University of Notre Dame in the US. Myself, my name is Steven Wissels, and I am the Global Product Manager for Field Radiography at Waygate Technologies, a position I have since 2014. I am responsible for the field radiography portfolio covering CR, computer radiography, as well as DR, direct radiography. Prior to this role, I was responsible project manager film systems at Xray Devices until the acquisition by GE in 2014. Here is the agenda for today's session. First, we will start with an overview. Where do you see digital field radiography and where is Waygate Technologies belonging? Then we will move over to the 4 different topics we will cover today. First, we will move to intelligence and what it can be, then automation, connectivity, and finally, we will also cover some of the technology. The last part of this webinar will be an open questions and answer session where we will try to give answers to all of your questions that you have posed during the session. The first part will be an overview of Waygate Technologies as well as field radiography. This is a snapshot from the Baker Hughes website where you can find more information about our company. But Waygate Technologies is a member of the Baker Hughes family with over 67,000 employees working in more than 120 countries with a turnover of $25 billion. Together we form the leading energy technology company. Waygate Technologies is part of the Digital Solutions Product Company Group, your partner for intelligent, connected technologies in order to sense, monitor, and inspect. As we recently moved through some changes, we thought it was interesting to first start with all those changes that happened some years and also some months ago. On the top of this slide, you can see the main company. In the beginning, we were part of GE Oil and Gas, one of the main divisions from GE. On the other hand, there was also Baker Hughes, one of the leading oil and gas companies also operating globally. At a certain moment, both companies merged together and formed a new company called Baker Hughes AGE Company. Then, after a while, GE decided to sell off the majority of the shares, so Baker Hughes became an independent company with a new logo. Within Baker Hughes, there are several subdivisions, of which Digital Solutions is one of those divisions. Then, if you look to our inspection division, we used to call ourselves GE Inspection Technologies. For about 17 years, we were using that name. When Baker Hughes GE Company was formed, we were part of that company, still calling ourselves Inspection Technologies. With the recent changes of Baker Hughes becoming independent and the subdivision Digital Solutions, we decided to also change our names from Inspection Technologies now to Waygate Technologies. This means you will see on our products and our offerings the new name called Waygate Technologies, a division from Digital Solutions, part of the large Baker Hughes company. Waygate Technologies. Waygate Technologies is a global company operating in quite some segments, as you can see on this slide. One of the main segments where we are operating in is aerospace, where we're inventing solutions for testing new and high-tech materials. Second important segment we're working on is, of course, oil and gas, where we're maintaining safety for refineries and pipelines. The third segment is automotive, improving inspection efficiency from battery to body. Of course, the energy segment is an important one for us, where we are maximizing green technology through growth. Next segment is electronics, where we see increasing semiconductors, solder joints, and batteries, which have to be more and more reliable. Of course, another segment where we are very active in is the additive manufacturing, where we ensure optimized 3D machine printing processes and parts quality. Finally, transport, where we guarantee safe and high-speed travel. And the last one is industrials or steel, where we ensure the durability of steel products. One of our main goals is to give our customers peace of mind. So we would like to use our technology to maximize safety, quality, as well as productivity. As Waygate Technologies, we are able to offer the broadest portfolio within NDT, from hardware, software to services, a complete solution package for every industrial application. First part, or the first technology, we call field radiography, consisting of the traditional industrial film, digital radiography, so CR and DRR or DDAs, offering X-ray tubes and generators, as well as industrial software. Of course, we have other technologies, for instance, X-ray and CT technology, so we're able to offer you 2D inspections as well as 3D CT systems. Eddy current, the next technology, we're able to offer you a lot of instruments as well as probes. Going to remote visual inspection, we offer video borescopes, fiberscopes, PTZ cameras, as well as robotics to drive those borescopes and visual inspections. And finally, the next technology we call ultrasound or UT, offering flow detectors, thickness gauges, system instruments, transducers, systems, sensors for PCM, electronic test machines, and complete robotics. Besides those 5 technologies, of course, we are very strong in software, from data acquisition management, data sharing and storage for quick, precise evaluation, and optimizing processes. Finally, last but not least, we're offering a lot of services, from rental programs to part inspections and reporting. We have a lot of customer solution centers globally where you can visit, where you can pose your problem or your question with specialists we have on site. And after sales support consisting of training, remote services, selling spare parts, in-house repair, and calibration of devices. Some questions we will try to cover during this webinar. What is NDT digitalization and how might it impact the non-destructive testing industry? What are the future attributes and technology trends affecting NDT digitalization? And what are we as a company providing in the next 2 to 5 years with regards to products and services? What are the focus areas for field radiography? Basically, we have 4 main focus areas: intelligence, connectivity, automation, and technology. The easiest one for us is, of course, technology, because we used to be a technology-driven company. We're able to offer Xray. We are focused on CR technology, DR technology, portability. We are looking for multimodality, more green, more safe technology, always trying to give better results, better resolution in the output of our products. Second focus area is automation. We see that a lot of customers tend to go for automation, higher throughput, safer throughput, using robotics in factory, but also outside in the field, try to get higher throughput of the systems. Third focus area is what we call connectivity. Of course, there we think about connecting devices with software, connecting the software with cloud-based solutions, using 5G, Bluetooth, wireless, even using GPS data to make sure you know where the inspection has been taken, using RFID, QR codes, all focused on connectivity. And then finally, the focus area of intelligence, using artificial intelligence, image analytics. How can we use all that data to improve the throughput, to improve production quality? Lifecycle management, and then finally, of course, business models. So far, most people were using CapEx to invest in systems. We see a huge trend to move from CapEx to OpEx, to rental systems, to spread the investment over months and years. The first question we would like to raise, the first poll in this webinar, is about company spending. How, in these new challenging times, your company is looking for alternatives to purchase equipment. Are you looking for spending alternatives? So please have a look at those different options and try to give your best answer on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Hi, my name is Daniel Emmons. I am also a product manager here at Waygate Technologies, and I will go through the next sections, firstly with the intelligence theme. Let's look at the first pillar, intelligence. Here is a modern software architecture schema, very high level, and we see on the top left that there's multiple places that we can accept input from users going forward. So it could be voice, could be keyboard, could be mouse. It could be things that are replacing the interaction with equipment, the scanners, and so forth through software. And gesture-based could be another alternative. Also, we'll be using that software to link up with other types of software, such as asset management, archiving management, analytics, machine learning, and all sorts of other systems. They may be embedded in the software one is using close to the device, or could be spread out between the cloud and on-prem. But all in all, it'll be a much more interaction and real-time communication between various pieces of information. On the bottom, you see the various types of kit that you might be connecting to, whether it's Xray or generators, or of course in the field radiography area, you'd be connecting to CR and DR equipment. And that could be from Waygate or on other vendors. And at Waygate, we're building both capabilities into our software. It also could be for different modalities beyond field radiography as well.
So we have another survey question. For your software platform in the future, what will be the most important? Please select one or more of the following. Software platform will become more powerful with additional features. It will be more intuitive, easier to use. It will be more modular, handle different types of modalities. For example, radiography, UT, visual inspection, and so forth. And lastly, increasing the amount of automation and software features related to that, including quality tools and automatic measurements. Let's look at an example of adding intelligence through software. We have a software module, Rhythm Flash, which is widely deployed at over 1,000 sites around the world. It's patented. It's excellent, consistent image quality across CR and DR platforms. It enhances productivity, improves your workflow. It's working with high contrast even at lower dose. It's DICONDI compliant. There's two different versions. There's a flash for general use and a flash for oil and gas. It's robust processing against variations. Those variations include density, geometry, radiation quality, and exposure settings. Again, it's a smooth workflow across the reviewing and verification processes. So that's Rhythm Flash. If you would like to see a demo, reach out to one of our representatives.
Next up, let's talk about automation and how this is affecting the move to digitalization. Let's take a look at automation then. There's 4 areas that I will present now shortly that will are different types of areas for improvement. These then help help us make decisions faster, improve throughput, eliminate human error, and just overall becoming more consistent. So the first one there is robotics. So working with different types of robots, mobile robots, robots that are fixed to different devices can be one way to improve automation. UI automation, for example, tools within the software that help deal with automatically measuring things or determining signal to noise ratio and other image analysis factors is another area for automation, as well as controlling the user interface of various software applications in an automated fashion. Then we have end-to-end automation for the entire workflow of a process that could be involved robots, different types of things within software, and different types of automation. And then lastly, there's general process improvements that can be done by looking at the work streams of various workers and how they interact together. It can really save a lot of time and effort in that regard. Now I will demonstrate a couple of examples where we're automating along with our customers around the world in the area of NDE. So firstly, we have an example with a field and a global pilot project where we're analyzing insulated pipes, and we're doing so in a way with robots, and we're doing this to accurately measure the wall thickness and look for wall loss and corrosion, and we're using our software to help people visualize where these problems are, and doing that in a quite automated fashion along the length of the pipes, and doing that as fast as we can to achieve, the best results in the least amount of time. Next, we have an example in the ocean where we work with other firms to basically get images all the way down into the deep sea water, and we're able to then take snaps all the way down into deep depths, and then relay those images back to workstations where we can do analysis of the situation in refineries in the ocean. Lastly, there's capability that we are designing that help us work with robots in factories. And so in this case, we're working alongside using CR technology. We're helping automate that process in conjunction with a smart robot. And all of this is in the field of radiography, and the results are great. We're reducing human effort, we're helping people make decisions, and we're improving throughput, and using a combination of API software and radiography gear, not to mention robots. For the next pillar of digitalization, let's talk about connectivity. Modern field operations demand full-on communication and connectivity using relevant wireless standards, cybersecurity, and workflows. This will reduce time between field and office, and it will reduce the working capital and processing times. So on the left, you see that the images need to be sent quickly, so they need to be captured. If analysis is done in the field, that has to go smoothly, and work lists, on the other hand, and other things need to come back from the office. So there needs to be a two-way communication between the field and the office. You can see that things that transfer are things like studies over different types of networking protocols, whether they're wireless, like 5G or Wi-Fi, or IoT type standards. The use of other standards around RFID and barcodes are going to become more commonplace as we improve the overall connectivity in the ecosystem surrounding field radiography. And anyway, so other details persist, and that you basically end up with more efficient job planning from the office, and studies can be rerouted to the appropriate people quickly, and inspections are adding value, and things are successfully archived in a very easy to find manner, and assets are managed for maximum uptime. And also, the overall lifetime of the components that are being monitored are then tracked onto eternity in some cases. Let's see how this connectivity is playing out in the real world. Here's some example of some kit provided by, for the most part, Waygate Technologies. You see some X-ray generators on the left, such as Resco and Isovolt and so forth, also third parties. Then we have the image creation maybe from different panels from the DRX75 or the Dynamic 41 or other CRD or equipment. We have also film, processor chemicals, plates, and all sorts of other things. Increasingly, things are moving digital, and they're connected through the different protocols. And then they're connected to products like the Rhythm Insight that can do acquisition, and eventually we can do image analysis and then share that data with less clicks, less duplication, and overall creating less risk for the overall business. And this is just a practical example of what's really happening today in terms of connectivity in the radiography space.
Here's another survey question for you. Which kind of connectivity are you investigating presently? First, between inspection software and Xray units, between inspection software and your company's process platforms such as SAP, Oracle, or other managers, between the inspection software and cloud solutions, and lastly, other. Please select all that apply.
Let's look at this connectivity from a more futuristic perspective to show the connectivity from a user and process perspective. So we see the need for more preparation and refinement of work. So we basically look at virtual reality, different kind of training, more tagging, better scheduling management, and overall learning and machine learning that would go into improving the overall work stream. Now, the live work stream, what we're seeing is both in the factories but also in the field and the different types of production lines. You're having, ad hoc situations where you've got to take the images and work through work lists and take all different aspects of looking at parts and components, and that same thing would be true in a more predictable line. All of these things are going to increasingly have RFID and GPS and all sorts of automatic tagging and automatic behavior between the components that are being analyzed and then the output that goes back to a centralized system that can then be optimized for further improvement for future work studies. Now, on the right, you see an example of an app that might be helping you to work both on a smartphone, or it could be a tablet or other kind of interface, a speech interface or what have you. But we do have a very popular mobile app that's an example, and overall the benefit of this futuristic work stream is reduction in human errors and, again, process efficiency. So that's the summary there of the connected work stream.
In this last part of this webinar, we will cover technology. With Waygate Technologies, I can say we are very lucky. We are able to offer the best-in-class computer radiography systems, the most dose-efficient systems available in NDT. At the same time, our detectors, portable as well as static detectors, are still today best-in-class systems available. If we look to our X-ray generators, both portable as well as static X-ray generators, we can clearly say after more than 50 years of production, we are still best-in-class with regards to quality, endurance of products. If you look to NDT software, also here, we are proud to say that our Rhythm software is well known and is a leading software platform in NDT. So with regards to technology, we are in a very lucky position. But this doesn't mean we don't have to improve our products. So we have a couple of projects running now looking for new technologies. Other than X-ray, CR and DR, we see that there might be new technologies available in the NDT in the next couple of years. At the same time, we're also improving our good products, trying to put on the market lighter, more ergonomic solutions, also looking to use drones for more portable inspections. At the same time, if you look to software, we're looking for other solutions. So offline solutions, cloud solutions. Cybersecurity is becoming more and more important. And of course, commercial offerings to be updated. Moving away from classic investments, moving more to new commercial offerings. One of the examples of our advanced technology, without going too much into details, is the extreme dose sensitivity of our computed radiography systems. We see that if you use our CR systems, you only need a very low dose in order to meet the stringent industry standards with regards to image quality. From all the offerings in NDT on CR, we have the highest dose efficiency, factor 5 up to 20 better than our competitors. How come that we have such a difference between our competitors? Well, this is quite simple. If you use expensive, good, critical components like laser units, the whole optics, then you can distinguish yourself from competitors. If at the same time you're able to fine-tune your CR scanners and you're able to tune them onto your IP plates, your imaging plates, you really have a winner. This is visible by the independent certifications that are available for the different CR systems. If you look to the characteristic, what is called ISO speed, it's a standardized item, ISO speed, there is a huge difference between Waygate Technologies equipment and different brands. Again, a factor 5 up to 20 difference in ISO speed, also in exposure time. So for the same system, you have a throughput which can be much higher than any of the competitors. If you want to have more information about this specific topic, we do have a separate presentation available on this topic. Another example of excellent technology is the well-known offering of Xray units, Xray Devices. We have a broad portfolio starting with stationary generators. Stationary generators up to 4.5 kilowatts, able to penetrate more than 115 millimeters of steel. Main application is radiography, radioscopy, and radiometry. So our well-known Isovolt Titan Neo, 160, 225, 320, and 450 kilovolt unipolar and bipolar systems with various different tubes are available. Looking for mobile generators, we can offer up to 1.6 kilowatts, mainly focused on weld inspection, our well-known Isovolt Mobile 160, with a lot of tubes available. And then, of course, our well-known portable generators, our Eresco line, up to 900 watts and penetration of 65 millimeters of steel. Mainly focused on weld inspection, examination of structural integrity, our Eresco line, 200 and 300 kilovolts, with 1 as well as 3 millimeter focal spots, and also panoramic units. We are able to lead in this segment because of higher efficiency, higher uptime, increased image quality because of constant potential units, and an extreme high duty cycle. How come? Well, we have years of leadership experience in this field with a well-known brand, Seifert, combined with high-quality metaceramic tube design. We are still the leader in this segment. And now we are moving to the final conclusion of this webinar. To conclude, the first part we tried to show you today was about the name change, the new brand, company brand, Waygate Technologies. Second part was about what are the 4 themes we are focusing on to drive digitalization in NDT. Starting with intelligent software offerings with modern architecture, using AI, using Flash to do your inspection. Second theme was about automation. Automation in the field, in the factory, at sea, using robotics to improve processes. Third part was about connectivity. Connectivity of equipment, connectivity of software to cloud, making sure that connectivity brings you higher throughput. And last but not least, technology. We are the company that is able to bring right now the best technology in NDT. Nevertheless, we are focusing on improving technology, looking for new technology, because we know that in the future, technology will still play an important role. Finally, we would like to invite you to contact us, because we know our offerings can only be successful if we know what the market requires, if we know what the voice of the customer tells us. So we really would like you to reach out to us to inform us what can we do better, what can we improve, how can we make your life easier, how can we improve your throughput. Now, when we're reaching the last slide, we really would like to thank you for your presence. Before we will transition to our live question and answer session, please submit your question if you have one. And if you haven't had the chance to submit your question, please do so on your question and answer engagement tool on your console. We will open the session for all questions that we will try to answer right now. If not, we will send you an email later with the answers. Thank you very much for attending this session.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us for a webinar hosted by Waygate Technologies, The Future of Field Radiography is Digital. And thank you so much, Stephen and Daniel, for this very informative presentation. I wanted to take the opportunity to note that if you are joining us today and you would like to ask a question to the presenters, please feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of your browser and send in a question for review to Stephen and Daniel. We wanted to start the Q&A portion of this webinar. So our first question is around image quality. So it was noted that the quality of image and comparing it with the conventional, very important. So how can we compare in terms of density and gray value level between the image qualities, and what are some of the best practices and considerations?
Okay, good morning. Thank you for joining this webinar. Stephen here, Stephen Wissels. It's a difficult answer to this question. So comparing analog images on film and digital is not that easy. Using density as a characteristic is for digital not always the right one. I would say it's not the right one because signal to noise and SRB is more important. Of course, the higher your density you have on your digital image, the more dose you should have applied, which means the better image quality, the higher SNR. But just taking gray level as an important factor for defining good or bad quality is not the right way with digital. We can give you much more answers on that one, so I would suggest to either contact some of our local people or we can go on with answering by email later on if you want.
Great, thank you so much, Stephen. The next question is about flash. So what are the differences between flash and flash oil and gas, or flash ONG?
Okay. Flash, so the flash version, as you know it, it's a more generic flash, which is visualizing all the different applications in a better way for the human eye. During the whole validation, we have found that the feedback from customers was that for oil and gas images, where typically you're looking for wall thicknesses or remaining wall or corrosion, we could fine-tune the flash, and that's why we came up with a slightly fine-tuned version, which is representing oil and gas images in a better way than the standard flash version. So if you are going to target oil and gas applications like wall inspection or in-service inspections, then it's preferred to use the fine-tuned flash oil and gas. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Stephen. I appreciate it. Is it possible to use low CI IR192 to calibrate the DXR250 models and the DXR750P models?
The answer is yes. Of course, you are able to use low Curie iridium sources to calibrate. The challenge, of course, there is that the lower you go in activity, the more close you have to come to the detector, and the challenge will be at a certain moment you will not have an equal spread of gray value because you come too close. So that you should prevent. Within the latest DXR models, we have the possibility to increase the amount of time that is used for that calibration, so we are able to go lower in Curie source. So you have to, so the answer is yes, it's possible, but you have to make sure you prevent going too close to have that unequal gray level spreads.
Great. And as part of your presentation, we had a question come in about the hardware kit. So what is the hardware kit?
Yeah, when we talk about the hardware kit in this presentation, we talk about, all of the hardware we're able to provide. So it can be a CR technology, CRX Flex, CRX Vision, but at the same time, it can also be the detectors, flat panels. So the latest one we released or the previous ones. So talking about hardware kit is just the name for every hardware we can supply to you that can be connected, or in the future will be interconnectability with other devices.
Thank you. Next question is, can we apply flash technology in inspection of 3D printed metal parts?
That's a good question. Flash is intended for 2D images. So the versions we have right now released, Flash and Flash Oil and Gas, are intended for 2D images. So which means 3D images, you cannot use Flash for the moment. But I would say in the future, you will have the possibility most probably also to use a version of Flash for CT images. It's not that straightforward, but that's one of the parts that we are working on and investigating if that makes sense to also supply that as a product in our portfolio.
Thank you. So could you comment or add a little detail around what is the flexibility of the image plate where accessibility of RT joint is very difficult during an inspection?
So IP imaging plates are less flexible than the very thin analog film, of course. The fact that imaging plates are made from different layers, which are glued or which are made together, results in the fact that you're able to bend them around the pipe, but the smaller the pipe diameter, if you go lower than, I would say, 3.5-inch pipes, then it becomes more difficult to bend around, and you have kind of a memory effect. So that's what we're also trying to resolve by making the IP plates more flexible. An IP plate is flexible. You can put it around the joint, but there are limits because of the fact that it's built up with a lot of different layers. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Does Waygate have a solution for DDA radiography of curved objects, such as large bore pipe, butt welds using a EWSI technique, or did you have any recommendations on best practices for an object like that?
That's a very specific question. So curved objects, of course, as you know, a detector is a rigid panel, so it's not suitable to bend around the pipe, or you can do it just one time and then it's broken. So we are looking into technology to also provide in the future, I would not say flexible detectors, but detectors you can bend. So for the moment, a rigid detector has its limits. So that's why we will also try to push customers to use CR technology in that case. So I would say DR right now has its limits with regards to this kind of inspection. This is something we cannot solve right now. This will be something for the future.
Okay. And what solutions do you have for PCB assembly inspection?
For PCB assembly inspection, the area what we are working on is what we call field radiography. So mostly portable detectors, portable CR equipment, which is to be used in field applications. For PCB assembly inspection, we have a whole range of, I would say, high quality, high throughput CT systems. Also 2D systems we have available. So this is not really, let's say, our field or my field, because I'm more related to the field applications. So I would encourage you to reach out to one of our channel partners or one of our direct salespeople to discuss this matter. We do have a lot of equipment which is really focused also on PCB assembly inspection. But it's not really the field of field radiography, it's more like in-house inspection.
Great. And the next question is software sort of product specific. So is CT software, can it be incorporated with the Rhythm software, or are there any additional plans for different types of software integration?
So yeah, we have the Rhythm software suite, which includes image acquisition, namely Rhythm Insight RT is the latest edition, and that handles both CRDR, and it can talk to Xray and generator equipment from Waygate and other vendors. Then there's Review, which is compatible with that, so you can send files and actually work together on the same laptop or tablet and utilize those software together, and Review will provide you full analysis capability. Lastly, we have the Rhythm Enterprise Archive software, which is for long-term storage of studies, and those studies that can then be shared, and policies can be set up to rotate those studies around your organization in the best fashion. And then lastly, within Waygate, we have a product called InspectionWorks, which is a cloud and on-prem based solution for overall inspection management.
So if I may add here something here, so the CT software typically used for rotating images and to do analysis of those images, it cannot be done with the Rhythm software. So Rhythm software right now, as it is existing right now, it's mainly focused for 2D images. The part that Daniel mentioned, which is the Rhythm Archive, of course, Archive, you can always use our archive to store and retrieve later on CT images. But there is I would say there is not a compatibility with software for CT and our Rhythm software right now. That will be for the future that we, as Daniel mentioned, we are going to move to one software platform in the future. We are working on that. We have a first release recently, and we are moving into the direction of having one software platform for all the radiography solutions. So that's something what we are working on and will be released month and year after year.
Great, thank you, Daniel and Stephen. And we did have several questions come in about software demonstration. So what is the best way for participants to request a software or equipment demonstration?
So yeah, as Stephen said, we can establish meetings through channel partners or local representatives of Waygate they could use. And so the software demonstrations can easily be done remotely through online sharing. Additionally, we have application centers around the world, so you can see solutions there. So for hardware, typically those are shown in the application center, or we can come on site and do demonstrations with the channel partners or local contacts.
Great, thank you so much. And some of the questions that have come in about like specific contact information, we'll definitely follow up with those participants like via email. So no problem. The next question sort of shifts back into some industrial trends as related to hardware. So a question had come in, are there any batteries or wireless operated generators planned for the future, either for Waygate or in general for some of the industries that Waygate supports?
I would say that's a very good question, because what we see, the trend is going to more portable devices that you can carry around. You can put it in a helicopter to an oil rig and so on. So that's definitely a trend with what we see in the industry. Unfortunately, for the moment, we don't have that. We cannot offer battery-operated wireless Xray generators. There is a reason for it, because there is always a link between weight and output. Although I would say we are investigating the fact that we know that we have to come lighter, and we have to be a little bit more, let's say, flexible in that. So right now, we don't have it. There are plans, yes. I think you will see more results in the next coming months and years on that. So right now, it's not available, but wait and see, I would say.
Yeah, and we received a comment and a question about another industrial trend. So it was noted by a participant that in digital radiography, there is a disadvantage of lower spatial resolution compared to film and CR. So do you know of or are aware of any trends or any Waygate capabilities to attempt to improve DR resolution?
It's right that for the moment, film and CR are offering much higher resolution capabilities than detectors. There is a trend, however, to move more and more into the direction with flat panels to go for higher resolution. So that's also why we recently released the 75 micron detector, as well as the 140 micron detector. So focused more and more on high critical weld inspections. There is a limit, however. I mean, the actual technology with flat panel detectors has a limit, at least to make it commercialized. In lab environments, of course, we have higher resolutions, but it's not really ready for commercialization. So right now, there is still a difference between CR and film on one side and digital or flat panels on the other side. We are looking definitely into releasing higher resolutions and also other possibilities, as you say, subpixel and so on. It's not there yet, but we're working on that. So definitely the trend is going higher in resolution, and we will follow that trend as well. It's not, I would say as a last comment, it's not always required. I would say same as with digital cameras, there was a trend to go always higher in pixel, the amount of pixels. At a certain moment, people realize that there is a disadvantage with regards to going higher in resolution. So you have smaller pixel sizes. So your image quality for certain things like SNR would also be influenced. So there is definitely a limit, but the answer is yes. We look into releasing higher resolutions for flat panels.
Great, thank you so much. The next question is really around aviation and those options there. So are you aware of any aviation manual approval for CR?
Yes, we do have I would say, quite a lot of customers globally, both in US, Europe, as well as in Asia, using CR as well as DR for aviation. Depending on the application, of course, it's allowed. Also, good to know is that certain primes, like the major primes of aviation and aerospace, they have their own internal standards, which sometimes deviate from ASTM and other standards, and they also allow for certain particular inspections the use of CR and DR. So yes, we can supply you with more information if you have any questions on that. We have quite a lot of customers globally using that technology. So we can help you further. If you contact one of our local sales guys or channel partners, we can give you more information on that.
Thank you, Stephen. And the next question is really about training, right? So do you offer, or does Waygate offer any dedicated product and technology training, either for operators or applications or both? And can it be performed on-site in the customer's environment? Could you tell us a bit about some of those options, please?
Okay. It's a good question. I think in order to fully take advantage of the capabilities of a CR or DR system or an X-ray system, training is required. Of course, with initial installation, we also provide very basic training to understand the technology, but application training is really required, I would say. It brings your inspection level to a higher, inspection quality to a higher level. So we have application labs, we have application centers globally in every region, so where you can send in some of your operators for additional training. We have very specific, basic, but also advanced radiography training here in our office in Belgium, Berchem. 1 week for basic, 1 week for advanced training. If required, we can also give trainings on site, what we also did before, specific for aviation, MIA. So we have all different possibilities about training. So either here in our offices, in our application centers, or even on site. Everything is possible.
Right, and could you tell us a little bit about some of the offerings? Are there those offerings also available through the customer solution centers? I know that those are worldwide as well.
Yes, so in the customer solution centers, we have a lot of equipment available, so we can also do on-site demos there. But also there, we are able to offer you the specific training, either the standard training we provide to most of our customers, but if you feel that you need to have a very specific training on one specific topic, let's say image quality or how to service certain equipment, we also offer dedicated training in those centers. So I would say everything is possible. We have done a lot of different customized, but also standard trainings globally for all the customers.
Wonderful, Stephen and Daniel. Thank you so much for your time. I wanted to take the opportunity to thank everyone for that attended today. It was really wonderful to hear all of your questions, and any open remaining questions, Daniel and Stephen will definitely be following up with you. We did not get to all the questions today, but we look forward to reaching out to you and helping you in the future. So today, this concludes our webinar and live session for The Future of Field Radiography is Digital by Waygate Technologies. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.